Well, I thought maybe if I see the instructions at the back of the packet, it will all come back to me. Now, since the age of 9, my school had been having talks about periods and sexual intercourse and even all the stages of pregnancy. That day was very special for me because it was the day my youngest sister was born. Hi everyone, my name is Nandini. I live in Singapore and I'm a storyteller. I also teach mindfulness to children, to teenagers and to adults. But today, on Menstrual Hygiene Day, I bring you a very special story, very personal story. So are you all ready? Okay, here we go. 14th February 1984, Mumbai, India. I was 12 years old and I lived in a joint family with my grandparents. 14th February is Valentine's Day, but back then we didn't really know anything about Valentine's Day, or at least I didn't know anything about Valentine's Day. I was just 12. And that day was very special for me because it was the day my youngest sister was born. And I was waiting to see the baby and my mother, who was in the hospital, that evening. So I went to school as usual. And when I came back, I was very tired. For that day, we had had very rigorous march past practice. I was part of an inter-school march past squad. And we had to march for, I think, an hour. And that was very tiring. And the march past squad was part of a bigger inter-school sports competition. So when I came home, I was exhausted and I was very hungry. I quickly went in to change out of my school uniform and I noticed some brown stains. I wondered what these brown stains were because I knew I hadn't sat on those muddy grounds when we were practicing. I was very prim and proper, and I remember I sat on the ledge around the tree because I didn't like to get myself very dirty. So I wondered where these stains came from. Well, I didn't think much of it and I quickly changed. I was too hungry to think and I quickly ate some food. An hour later, I spotted the brown stains again. Now I was really confused. Where could these brown stains have come from? There's no mud at home, I thought to myself. And I went in to check again. I went to the bathroom to check again. What are these brown stains? And suddenly, at that time, I realized what had happened. You guessed it. I had got my periods for the very first time. Now, since the age of 9, my school had been having talks about periods and sexual intercourse and even all the stages of pregnancy. But I didn't remember any of that, apart from a little bit around the periods. My mother had also briefed me about how to wear a sanitary towel the year prior, before I had gone on a school trip, and insisted that I should carry a packet of sanitary towels with me, much against my wishes. But that was 1 year ago. And now I was in the bathroom with my heart beating very fast. I was almost panicking because my mother was in the hospital and there was no one to teach me this again. And I couldn't remember how to wear the sanitary towel. Now, if you grew up in India around the same time I did, then you would know that the sanitary towels in those days were not simple adhesive sanitary towels that you get today. At least the one in my house was not. In my house, the one that was in the cabinet was a sanitary towel which had first an elastic belt. The elastic belt had 2 beads on either side of it, and I still remember they were red and white. And The sanitary towel itself had an extension of the outer fabric, which you used to tie into the loop of that elastic band. It was a very confusing way of wearing a sanitary towel. At least I thought so at the age of 12. And I couldn't remember what my mother had told me around it at that time. Well, I thought maybe if I see the instructions at the back of the packet, it will all come back to me. I will then remember how to do it. So I opened the cabinet in the bathroom and I scrambled around, and thankfully there was a packet of sanitary towels in there. And I quickly looked at the brand, Carefree. I wasn't feeling anything close to being carefree at that time. And I turned the packet around and I carefully tried to follow the instructions. I took out the elastic band. I put it around my abdomen. I tried to loop the sanitary towel between the two beads. But the two beads came out in my hand and I couldn't push them back in because they were very, very tiny. And now I was stuck with a sanitary towel, an elastic band, and two beads in my hand, which I couldn't fit back in. Oh, what a mess, I thought. Now I really don't know what I'm going to do. And at that point, I just quickly dressed up and I left the bathroom. I walked outside and I bumped into my father. And immediately, without thinking, I just told him, Papa, I got my periods. There was silence at the other end. And he looked at me and said, okay, didn't Mummy tell you how to wear it? Oh, she did. She did tell me, but that was 1 year ago and I can't remember how to wear it. And I read the instructions in the packet and I can't understand how to wear it. It doesn't make any sense to me. How can you forget? Oh, I can't forget, Papa. It's very confusing. You have to put one loop on one side, another loop on the other side, and I really can't remember how to wear this. And I don't know what to do. Okay, wait here. I will call Bada Mama, my grandmother, or I will call Jijabai, my nanny who had been with us before I was born. Oh, no. Please don't do that, because they don't know anything about periods. They're not going to know, and they're not going to know how to wear a sanitary towel. So please don't tell them. My father looked at me and smiled. Don't worry, they will know. And with that, he went to call someone who could help me. Soon enough, my nanny came and helped me in the bathroom with the sanitary towel. And all was good at that point. But my story doesn't end here. News in my house travels very quickly. And as I stepped out of the bathroom, I went to my grandmother. She was in the prayer room doing her prayers. And I stood outside the prayer room. And she looked at me and she said, "You have become a big girl now. Congratulations." Big girl? Why was I a big girl? I wasn't a big girl the day before. Why was I suddenly a big girl today? And she continued, "Now I will tell you something. During your menstrual cycle, you can go in the kitchen and you can go around the house. It's okay, but don't enter the prayer room and don't touch any of the utensils that are used for any offerings to God. And don't touch any of the other things in the prayer room. And even if the utensils are lying in the kitchen, don't touch them there either." Oh, I thought. I couldn't see why. So I asked her, why can't I enter the prayer room? What's wrong with that? Nothing is wrong with it. It's just that it's not done. At this time, during your menstrual cycle, we don't enter the prayer room. It is not a clean time. So we don't enter the prayer room, she explained to me very gently. I looked in the prayer room and I saw the beautiful marble icons of Lord Krishna and his consort Radha. And I still remember their eyes looking back at me. And then I turned to my grandmother and I said, but Radha is here and she would have got her periods too, and you pray to her every single day. So why can't I enter the prayer room if Radha can be in the prayer room? Yes, Radha also would have got her periods. But that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, during this time, you don't enter the prayer room with and touch any of these utensils. Do you understand me? Well, I didn't understand her. But what about all the goddesses? Durga, Lakshmi. We pray to Lakshmi every Diwali. They would have all got their periods, right? Yes, they would have all got their periods. And every woman gets her periods. But that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, during this time, you do not enter the prayer room or touch any of the utensils. I gave up. I really couldn't understand why. And I questioned this for many years to come. And till date, I haven't got an answer that would make sense to me till date. And so, well, I accepted it for what it was at that time. And in the evening, I did go to meet my mother and see my little baby sister. And when I went to my mother, she looked at me and said, "Congratulations." And I thought to myself, wow, news spreads very fast. And I looked at her and said, "You too, congratulations for the baby." I'd like to thank my father for being so stoic on that day and not showing any emotion, positive or negative. And I don't think he realized what had hit him. But on hindsight, for me, him not expressing any emotion at that time was very important, because it allowed me to process my own emotions and for it to be a very matter-of-fact thing that happens to everybody. I'd like to thank Arts4Change and Wild Strawberry for creating this wonderful platform on Menstrual Hygiene Day. There's so much work to be done in this space, so thank you for doing what you are doing.